Hey, what's up everybody, Fanboy here, and in this video we're gonna unbox and take a look at the DJI OM4. Yes, OM4, not Osmo Mobile 4, as DJI seems to be moving away from the Osmo nomenclature for their smartphone gimbals. And the OM4 is the latest in DJI's very popular line of smartphone gimbals that started with the original DJI Osmo Mobile, went through versions 2, version 3, which came out last year, and it was their first smartphone gimbal that could fold down to something this small that can actually fit in your cargo pants pockets, for example. And the OM4 just came out about a week ago, and it adds a bunch of new features on top of what already made the Osmo Mobile 3 a great, probably the best smartphone gimbal on the market. And the OM4 adds a few new features on top of those and makes it even more convenient to carry and to use. So let's take a look at it, starting with unboxing it and seeing what comes in the box. But first, if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please consider doing so by clicking on the subscribe button below, so you won't miss new videos with unboxings, reviews, cool Fanboy original products that you can download and 3D print at home yourself, and much, much more. Alright, so let's start by taking a look at what comes in the box. The box for the OM4 is a pretty standard DJI box with an image of the device on the front, logo on the side, and some basic information on the back and on the other side. Once you open the box, you have quick setup instructions on the top flap, and an inner box that says Create Magnetic Moments, which is clearly a reference to the magnetic phone mount. Inside the inner box you'll find a few different things. There's a cloth pouch to carry the OM4 as well as a hand strap. DJI also included a few extra double-sided adhesives in case you need to remove the metal plate from your phone or case and damage the one that comes pre-installed, as well as alcohol wipes and a dry wipe to prepare the back of your phone or case before you adhere the metal plate to it, which is this guy right here. There's also a transparent plastic guide that you use to position the metal plate in the correct place on the back of your phone or case. And finally, your typical DJI paper manual stuff like warranty info, safety guidelines, etc. Next we have the gimbal itself, the OM4, which feels pretty much like the Osmo Mobile 3 except for the fact that it doesn't have a permanently attached phone holder. It's a removable spring-loaded magnetic clamp instead, which comes in the box along with an extra piece of sticky back rubber in case the phone you're using is too thin to be held in place firmly by the clamp. It's cool that DJI also included a little plastic tripod that attaches directly to the bottom of the OM4 using the 1/4-inch thread, so you don't have to buy that separately. And finally, a USB-C to USB-A cable. Apart from the obvious color difference, with the OM4 being a much lighter shade of gray than the Osmo Mobile 3, and the fact that the phone clamp is magnetic and removable, everything else is pretty much exactly the same. All the ports and controls are in the exact same locations. The design, ergonomics, and dimensions seem to be absolutely identical, and the only significant difference here is the magnetic phone mounting system, which really makes the OM4 a lot more convenient to use since you can leave the clamp or metal plate attached to your phone and quickly mount the phone to the gimbal when you need to use it, and it's ready to go and already balanced. I tried to stick the metal plate to the back of my phone case, both with and without the included plastic disc that comes in the box to protect your device, but that didn't work at all, and every time I tried to detach the phone from the gimbal, the metal plate unglued from the back of the case since the magnets seemed to be stronger than the adhesive on the metal plate, so I ended up just using the phone clamp. Speaking of magnets, the magnets DJI used are really strong, and I was pretty impressed with how firmly it held the phone in place, even when I purposely tried to make it fall off. Once the phone is mounted to the OM4, all you need to do is boot up the device and launch the DJI Mimo app on your phone, which will feel very familiar to anyone who's used one of the previous versions of the Osmo Mobile. DJI updated the app recently to add support for the OM4, and they also added a couple of really cool new features that we'll talk about in a second. DJI also announced that the motors on the OM4 are stronger than the motors on the Osmo Mobile 3, and that in some cases you will be able to attach accessories like lenses to your phone and use them with the OM4 without the need for counterweights. But while I was able to shoot with my iPhone 11 Pro with the moment anamorphic lens on the OM4 without counterweights, I had to move the clamp towards the lens so much when I tried to balance the phone that it was sometimes pressing the power button on the side of the iPhone. So, since, like the Osmo Mobile 3, the OM4 has a convenient threaded mount for counterweights, I prefer to use them when I want to shoot with external lenses. That being said, the more powerful motors don't go to waste, since they seem to make the most important feature of a gimbal, the stabilization itself, smoother on the OM4 when compared to the Osmo Mobile 3, as you can see in the comparison footage here. My cameraman here isn't what you would call a pro when it comes to the infamous quote-unquote gimbal walk, so there's a little more Z-axis bounce in both videos than I would have liked, but you can tell that the OM4 footage on the left is a little smoother than the Osmo Mobile 3 on the right. On the softer side of things, as I mentioned, you control the OM4 using the DJI Mimo app, and you can navigate to and select most of the options on the DJI Mimo app using the physical buttons on the OM4 itself. All the same shooting modes that were available with the Osmo Mobile 3 work with the OM4 too, like slow motion, time-lapse with up to 4 configurable position points, hyperlapse, etc. But DJI also added 2 cool new shooting modes. The first one is called Clone Me, and it is one of the options inside the panorama shooting mode. And what it does is, it basically takes 3 pictures and stitches them together seamlessly, but it also guides you to position yourself or the subject you want to shoot in the right part of the frame so that when it stitches the pictures together, it looks like there are multiple versions of the subject in the picture. The other one is called Dyna-Zoom, or as some people like to call it, the Hitchcock zoom effect, where as you physically approach the subject, the camera zooms out, creating this really cool depth of field effect. Or the other way around, as you move away from the subject, the camera zooms in. Now, while you can do a lot with DJI's own Mimo app, DJI also worked with third-party developers to integrate the OM4 really well with other camera apps, like for example, the very popular Filmic Pro app, in which you can use the hardware controls on the OM4 to control lots of features on the app. And my favorite, the Moment Camera app, which in my opinion is the best example of how to integrate hardware with third-party software well. Not only can you customize what features the hardware buttons on the OM4 will control, like changing lenses, adjusting focus, etc., but it also includes clear and well-designed tutorials and other useful information on how to make the most of the OM4/Moment app combo. Alright, so at this point I've been using the DJI OM4 for the last 3 days, and while some might say that that's not long enough to get to a verdict, I feel that because the OM4 is an iterative update to the Osmo Mobile 3, there really isn't anything super groundbreaking or innovative about the OM4 other than a few small details that make it easier to carry and to use. So I feel that 3 days is long enough to get to a verdict, and my verdict is I love it. What's not to love about it? It's basically the same price as the original introductory price for the Osmo Mobile 3, $150. It has all the same features and adds a few new things like the magnetic mount and the dynamic zoom option in the DJI Mimo app. So it's a great little smartphone gimbal. I'm a fan overall of all DJI gimbals. I own the Ronin SC for my mirrorless camera, the Osmo Mobile 3. I have the Osmo Pocket that I use when I don't want to carry something as big as a smartphone gimbal with me. So I love DJI gimbals in general, and the OM4 is a worthy successor to the Osmo Mobile 3 and definitely worth the $150 price point in my opinion. Alright guys, that's it. Hopefully this review of the DJI OM4 has been helpful to you. And if you liked the video, please remember to hit like below and to subscribe to the channel. Alright, catch you on the next one. Fanboy out!